Actually, I'm doing a premium stream just for my audience here. Hold on. Okay. For our Rumble premium viewers, actually, this is going to be the first time that I do this. They've asked me to do it, and I'm going to. This is a great first Rumble premium interview. So for right now, if you're listening to my voice on all the other social media streams, join us on our Rumble premium exclusive. Here we go. This is going to be a pre-record with my guest, and there we go. We have it. Okay, fantastic. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, joining me today, you know, everybody knows I've been an activist for a long time on a broad range of topics. I'll never forget in 2014, it was brought to me something about ranching, Clive and Bundy. I knew nothing of ranching, but my producer said, you have to speak with this rancher. This is Western land issues. This is Agenda 21. They're trying to get people off the land. But I knew nothing about farming or anything like that. I'm from New York. So I pushed back. But the more I learned about what Clive and Bundy was struggling with and the complexities of the issue, and obviously government overreach, I dove in right away. And it was a life-changing experience for me. But joining me today is Inesa, and I'm going to pronounce it. I could skip over it like a lot of hosts do when she gets interviewed, because it's difficult to pronounce. But Santilli, I'm very ethnic. Pomomariovaite is the pronunciation of her last name. She's the founder and CEO of Inesa's Hemp, a company dedicated to preserving hemp in its natural whole plant form. Her journey began when her mother was diagnosed with cancer. We, especially of the demographic of our listening audience, we know that we've suffered through those pains, and we've had family members dealing with that. But it sent her nearly 2 years of intensive research into hemp, CBD, CBDA, natural wellness. She was dissatisfied with the products she found on the market. She ultimately developed Inesa's Hemp, a living full-spectrum certified organic CBDA hemp extract produced without harsh chemicals or solvents. But today, she's also become an outspoken advocate for natural hemp and is raising serious questions about new federal regulations that could fundamentally reshape the hemp industry. And I say with tremendous, and I did a lot of background research because, you know, just like back in 2014, Inesa, I didn't know a lot about the hemp industry and what the differences are. And I heard you say certain things that the body produces. Obviously, you need to have certain chemical balances, but God is great and designed us perfectly, and we rebalance things. But there are certain things in our body that without them, naturally, you would literally die. And I think that applies in this topic of conversation. Is that true? I don't mean to be overly sensational, but I was shocked by that.
I was actually very shocked myself, and more I learn and more I actually look at the research, more I understand why, and especially Christians been pushed away in a corner to never consider to even have a topic about the subject such as hemp.
Mm-hmm.
And I fully understand why the plant was misguided, or the whole industry misguided us, because I love herbs, and the nations heal the herbs. The seeds will heal the nations. The herbs will heal the nations. That's what the God says. That's what the Bible says. And I've been helping my mom to overcome cancer, which has just been cancer-free for many, many years now. And through God's medicine, but more I learned about the hemp and the specific things, what it does to the body and how body can function without, more I understood why the subject been so criminalized to the point where they threw people in a jail. And some of these people are still in the jail today.
Yeah.
So
I want to begin. This will be, I'll interrupt where I get overly anxious, but
it,
I want to set the stage here for our conversation, and then we'll dig into the benefits and what you've discovered here. We all know we're very distrusting, especially after COVID and what we're finding out about the lab leak and the just that whole nightmare. We had the wool pulled over our eyes, so we generally have a distrust in the competence of the government or covering up. And then you've got the commercial sector involved with the big pharma industry. So let's set the stage here. You went to Washington, D.C., and I want to hear in your own words what you actually discovered. It's pretty frightening that both the Democrats and Republicans have no idea what they're doing, but they're under a very heavy lobby having to do with THC content and wanting to get everybody high or not high or regulate those aspects of it, but impacting the natural, significant medicinal benefits of cannabinoids. So, what did you discover in DC? What did you discover about the lobby's impact? Tell everybody about that. And then let's talk about the reality of how truly beneficial and the medicinal benefits are of cannabinoids.
so I think what I would like to set the stage also, like, and really explain everyone, because if our people in Washington DC is confused, so I can't even imagine if the listeners really know all the details behind. So there's two parts actually for this plant. So first of all, we had this plant that has been natural. I'm gonna really quick share the history of the plant, facts, okay? We had a natural plant, it's been grown for thousands of years. Our bodies can function without. We'll talk about that in a minute, why and how it works, which is called endocannabinoid system. But the pharmaceutical companies, or Rockefeller specifically, they knew over 150 years ago, if this plant, the one that we've been carrying for thousands of years on this earth, that is extremely essential for the human existence, will ever come out to the light, to the truth, they will never succeed in their pharmaceutical agendas, such as like drugging us, because endocannabinoid system actually prevents you from getting disease. So that means we will never would get sick. We would never fall into their agenda. So they knew if this plant will be ever talked or researched, or people kept consuming it as 150 years ago, then they would never succeed in pharmaceuticals. So what they did, they suppressed the original plant, and they introduced two different versions of the plant. It's kind of two different versions. It gets a little complicated. I would need to have another interview probably for that. Depends how much time you have. So two different versions of the plant. The original plant is here, and they introduced a lab engineered that's called cannabis, the high THC plant. And that's exactly what our government right now is processing, and liquor industry is buying licenses, and it's really over the THC is currently taking over and above liquor market, the
Hmm.
alcohol, right? And then we have
Wow.
a other fake molecule that is not naturally occurring in the plant, that's called CBD. And this molecule also is patented by Food and Drug Administration. And we both know you can't patent a mother nature. So you see, and there's a full spectrum hemp plant that is full of these what you call acidic cannabinoids. And these acidic cannabinoids in that full spectrum hemp plant is absolutely essential to us to function, to prevent disease, to fight the disease, to function in the best being. It's just essential to us. And now, what we had talked about when I went to Washington, D.C., my biggest thing was why industry is not regulated. But when I got into the offices, such as Republicans or Democrat offices, did not matter, doesn't matter which office I go to, it was the same problem. It's like a problem of, it's a crisis. Our actually lawmakers did not even know that we have it. It's called endocannabinoid system, And that endocannabinoid system requires that first original version of the plant, the one I was telling you about. We had it for thousands of years on the earth. God designed it for us to consume it. That is not meant to make you high. That particle, that chemistry is for us essential to live and prevent from disease, never take pharmaceuticals. And the list goes on how many benefits are there.
Mm,
So nobody in Washington, D.C. was talking or even be aware of such thing as
mm.
endocannabinoid system.
Wow.
What they're doing is the cannabis, the lab engineered plant I was telling you about that never existed in Mother Nature. These genetics with high THC, all that smoking weed agenda literally happened through someone's. I don't know if it's pharmaceuticals, I don't know if it's government, I
Mm.
don't know who really controls who anymore in these days, but somebody from above created this agenda. And the CBD part belongs to pharmaceuticals. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, no, that's okay. And I have a couple questions regarding what set you on this journey. It's not like you said, "Well, let me create this potion and jump into the fray," because now the trendy thing is to legalize marijuana. Everyone wants to get high, and no, actually, your mother's diagnosis of cancer set you on this journey. Correct?
Very
Is
much
it?
so.
Yeah.
It was my mother's cancer journey, and I learned as I was helping to heal my mom, because I literally said to myself, "There's no way we're gonna do chemotherapy. There's no way we're gonna do the radiation."
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually learning, and what I discovered, what was already discovered 30 years ago, but it's been suppressed, about endocannabinoid system, and I saw how by just empowering endocannabinoid system, I have extremely high chances to fight not just cancer but any other disease. And also I have a chance to prevent myself or anybody around me from actually disease to begin with. So I understood the essentials of endocannabinoid system, and I was in Lithuania because that's where I was from, or I mean, now I'm a citizen right now, proud to be American citizen, by the way.
Amen.
So
Mm.
exactly, amen. We truly have the best country in the world, and don't get me started because I'm very blessed to be here. So with that being said, I learned about the endocannabinoid system, and I said, "There's no way this woman it will ever heal. Doesn't matter how many herbs we're gonna take. Doesn't matter how much we're gonna try detox her cancer naturally. She got to empower this endocannabinoid system because the science were so loud and clear that is such a critical part to fight a disease." So what I decided to do, because it was illegal in Lithuania, I decided to look hemp plants. Like I was looking for, hemp, and you couldn't just go and buy and tell anybody. You had to know somebody to know somebody, kind of type of thing. And there was somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody, and they gave me this raw. It wasn't in the labeled bottles or anything like that. It was a little jar, like a hemp plant, and I was giving high doses. And because she had colon cancer, I was actually giving her like rectally too. So that was how I got introduced with the hemp in the first place. That was my first time ever. But when my mother got healed, I was very blessed, and I just became very passionate about this topic, and I realized we really don't have to die. And I started helping other people. Now, in today's world, we have a clinic, and I'm involved in all kinds of research and trials, and you name it. I'm very heavily involved in the medical,
Mm.
in the holistic medical, but with the research and science behind world.
Mm.
But what I learned with my mother specifically is like, wake up, Inesa. This is like endocannabinoid system is such a critical part. So what if I just really empower masses with endocannabinoid system and see what happens? Because that alone it's a
Mm-hmm.
magic thing.
You know
So
what? Can I interject one quick question? Because you mentioned
yeah.
this in our first conversation as I was learning more, and I've done some research. But I was also you hear this term. You got to build up your immune system. What impact do the cannabinoids naturally in your body occurring? What's the interrelation between that and your immune system?
So the immune system needs to be signaled by endocannabinoid system. So if your endocannabinoid system is deficient on your own cannabinoids, which is we make our own cannabinoids.
Yeah.
God made us this way. What is you think this is fascinating? What is the most fascinating to me then when the baby is actually getting formed in the mother's womb within the first couple weeks? before anything really gets developed in the baby's body, like the God first, he designed the endocannabinoid system needs to develop us first. And from out of cannabinoid system, these other systems starts getting developed in to form the baby in the mother's womb. So the baby's body would never happen unless endocannabinoid system happened. This is how critical that system is literally holding everything in a human body. So when you talk about immunity, I'm talking about how your immune system, no matter how great of supplements you're going to take, no matter what you do, if your endocannabinoid system is not working properly, your immune system is not going to be never going to be able to also work in the best version of the whatever immune system can do.
Okay, so explain this to our audience because I learned about this myself. Like I said, I've got an interesting, I say, a method to my madness and how I find out stuff that I'm very fascinated by because the political impact because of the special interests behind this thing are taking away from the natural benefits of cannabinoids in hemp, right? That's a statement. But here's my question. It naturally exists in living hemp. But there's also another method of extraction through processing or isolation. Explain the differences between the two, if you would. Is that a good question? I don't know if I phrased it properly.
Yes. So no, you did great because it is a very confusing topic. And
Yes.
the reason it's confusing because we're not smart to understand it's because they told us to look for answers on the north while they put the evidence on the south, and while the researchers were working on the west to put the evidence on the south. Like it's so they made by design so confusing. So you literally need to be an investigator to truly go and uncover this topic. This
Yes.
topic is not easy to be understood, not because we're not smart. It's just because it's been by design to put it in front of us this way. So where we at is with this whole cannabis thing is, as I mentioned, we have two plants on the market or two versions of what you call cannabis on the market, what everybody is aware of. One is genetically engineered. So they took original version of the beautiful God's given plant, the same plant that our bodies makes internally. We make these almost the same cannabinoids as the natural hemp plant does. And then they took that plant and they genetically engineered and turned into high THC plant and made all kinds of versions of products out there, such as smokables, all kinds of what you call medicines in these days. I mean, painkillers, you name it, right? Very high THC. Some people get so high where they need to get even in the hospital. And so this plant specifically, that version of the plant is 100% lab made, genetically engineered. But if you look at the holistic natural form of the plant, one where everything really started, the way CBD was born is by taking natural plant and actually using heat and solvents and all these different extraction processes and turning into second version of molecule, the different version of molecule, modified version of molecule, which just became a CBD. So in a natural plant, if you look and study a natural plant, there is no CBD in inside. There's only CBDA, CBGA, THCA, not a THC, by the way, THCA, those are acidic cannabinoids. They are naturally occurring in the plant. Those are the ones that our body really requires for us to consume. The problem of these cannabinoids is you can't patent them, you can't control them, and if you give these cannabinoids to the masses, masses might heal from the disease and masses might never get sick again. That means it's not beneficial for anybody to focus on the natural hemp plant and acidic full spectrum cannabinoids. So that's not a good idea because it would kill a lot of markets in America. It would kill pharmaceutical market. It would kill a psychiatric market. Psychologists wouldn't be there anymore helping people to get their minds in alignment. So it's a problem. So they converted CBD A into the CBD they patented CBD as their drug for epilepsy. It's called Epidiolex. And now, what they're pushing right now in the Congress, and the laws are passed already. I was fighting really hard last Friday to extend, literally called Capitol Hill, and I was really, really upset. And I literally told them they're gonna submit the crimes against humanity if they're gonna not extend this or change the law. And they did extend it until December 11th, so we have another additional month to fight for this right now. So what they did, they're pushing CBD for pharmaceutical companies, so where it's gonna be insurance covered, that fake molecule
Mm.
that is not the same as our bodies makes it, is not the same cannabinoid. And then they have another version of the plant that lab engineered THC that actually liquor industry took over to continue somehow please people in their whatever people like to do, what's called fun. I mean, everybody has different definition of fun, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is where we at in the original hemp plant, the one that is really essential for us to consume, which is a full spectrum,
Hmm.
the cannabinoids. These are currently getting banned. These are, nobody talks about this. Nobody knows about this. Nobody talks except I'm talking, and and thank you for helping me to put my
Yeah.
word there.
You know, the way I see it, you hear about the immune system, we hear about the nervous system, we hear about the cardiovascular system, but a little. I mean, I'm 60 years old, and the endocannabinoid system, natural, even more important, your immune system can't function without a solid endocannabinoid system, and they're modifying that natural occurrence, but we never hear about let's give it an acronym: ECS, endocannabinoid system, right? So ECS, how can we never hear about ECS? Why has that been suppressed?
Because just like you mentioned, these other systems, such as central nervous system,
Hmm.
fully depends on endocannabinoid system to function. So, because if you fix the ECS, you're truly fixing root of the cause in a lot of systems in the body and through the CB1 and CB2 receptors. So, for example, it gets even better. Actually, endocannabinoid system, because we have a CB1 and CB2 receptors. For example, one of the functions of CB1 receptor, it regulates our hormones in the body. Hormonal systems is regulated also through the same basically endocannabinoid system.
Mm.
So everything, it's just imagine it's a mother to every other system in the body, and if you keep the mother strong, then the rest of the other systems will be strong, such as nervous system, cardiovascular, as you say, your inflammation, your immune system, your hormonal systems. Like the list goes on. It's not even funny how many health benefits it's actually there is to the hemp plant by using your own endocannabinoid system. There's the list is extremely long. It's like health. I would say hundreds, not of thousands, of the health benefits to it.
You know, I do, and you've mentioned this term, and I want you to shore this up because, listen, we've had doctors, especially through COVID. I don't know if you know this. All of the doctors that were raising the alarm about the mRNA. I mean, I've had Dr. Robert Malone, all the top doctors used to come on my show. And I'm not a medical expert, but we were so starved for information. So you've referred to ECS, something resembling a master regulatory system. Can you tell me what scientific evidence do you believe best supports that description? Because you've done a lot of research in this, right? This isn't some hocus pocus thing that you've made up on your own bench top, right?
No, it's scientifically this fact that us humans and actually animals, we do have endocannabinoid system, and it's been proven in every single country. And there's no country in the world who would say, or scientists, or there's no person in the world can deny this fact. This is a fact. We all know about it, but it's just a hidden fact. But the biggest way to prove that is by what do you call CB1 and CB2 receptors. So we have those all the way through, starts in our head in the brain, all the way to your toes, and it's covered in entire body. It's millions of them, and through those CB1 and CB2 receptors, they signaling and literally controlling these other organs, systems, inflammations, microbiomes, and everything. So these receptors are literally across from the head to the toes. Our bodies are covered in these receptors. And funny you mentioned that actually COVID, the biggest thing what happened where I believe the CBDA became a threat to pharmaceutical companies very big time when COVID news came out, and they did not even know exactly how they're gonna fix the problem. But Oregon University, they did a research, and they actually people that actually were supposed to get infected with COVID, or they tried to get them in COVID, they were able to prove that if you take full spectrum hemp oil with acidic, not a not a CBD, and not a THC, but acidic CBDA cannabinoids, that your body, through these receptors, I was telling you, CB1, CB2, was able to block it, the COVID entry to your body. That means there's no spike protein was able to enter your body through these receptors. So think about this. We had way better solution than a vaccine on the market. And we had evidence in university, in Oregon University, saying we don't need anything. We just need acidic cannabinoids to put in our body, empower endocannabinoid system, and endocannabinoid system will create a shield around us for spike proteins do not enter. And I have chills right now. The Holy Spirit is all over me. So we had an answer, but this is too cheap. It wasn't making any money for anybody. Like, it never got published. I mean, Nestle's Hemp was only one company that actually was talking about CBDA. I got interviewed by top media publications and television channels. The problem is they listened to me for the day because it broke the news, but the next day the whole thing was gone. It was buried. The information was buried. It was gone.
You oppose, as I do. I've never been one to smoke pot ever. I mean, I did it. I just didn't like the effect that it had on me. I always blame it on the fact that I'm a control freak. If I start to lose a bit of control that way, I don't feel good that way. So I oppose, smoking pot. But there's a distinction. I mean, how do you feel about THC for self-medication to have that impact of getting stoned versus something completely different in the CBDs, CBDAs, right? There's a difference between that and high content THC, correct?
I don't like anything from my body that is man's made.
Mm-hmm.
God told me the herbs will heal the nations. Mm-hmm. He gave us a perfect herb, and the perfect one of the, I would truly believe canna was mentioned in the Bible, and for a reason. And I can say this because God knew this is the master plant that is super, super important to us. And you know what? That plant doesn't have a THC. That plant, that's why you don't like the THC. I would never do the THC. I probably would throw up. Like if I had to do THC products, I would be miserable because our bodies are not meant to have a high levels of THC. What our bodies are meant to have such a small amount of THCA. And a THCA does really not make you high. But those are, again, acidic cannabinoids. They cannot be patented or controlled by liquor or pharmaceutical industries. So nobody wants you to know about those. And that's not beneficial to anybody. So how do I like it? I would never use it. I never smoked weed once in my life. I actually, when I was investigating farms across America, because I was looking for a good product to purchase for my family, for my clients I was working with. I wanted like a good quality hemp oil, and I couldn't find a single product on the market. I did not just call the companies and say, tell me if your product is good. I physically packed my pack, literally started in California. I went through laboratories, I went through the farmers, I went through top producers, I went in Colorado, I went in Oregon. I mean, I went through multiple different states literally on the road every single day looking for good quality products. And because I don't trust anybody, I had to say, don't tell me, like, show me, like, I need to
Hmm.
see the evidence of your products being a high quality. And every single these people failed. And when they failed, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. We have endocannabinoid system and we have not a single product on the market that actually can be eligible to empower this endocannabinoid system. And that was like 8 years ago.
Wow.
We still have the same problem today. In fact, they're about to ban this whole thing in the Congress right now.
For manufacturers to extract, let's say they remove THC, can they still call the resulting product full spectrum by removing the THC?
And it's no longer full spectrum. That's the whole problem. The way the law is passing, they're allowing 0.4 THC per bottle, which is the amounts they're talking about. They're so small where they're not going to be enough to trigger the CB1 receptors in the brain to control and regulate people's hormonal systems.
Mm-mm.
So, and much more. Nervous system, the way the neurons connecting is also controlled by CB1 receptor. Like, you can take the best neurological medicine, herb, treatment, whatever you want, but if your CB1 and CB2 receptor is not working properly, you will never accomplish your highest goals. Doesn't matter what it is. Endocannabinoid system needs to be in check. And the new law is currently that passed, and they're trying to enforce it as of November. Now it's December 11th. It's actually not allowing to trigger that CB1 receptor in the body because of the way they're asking us to produce these plants.
Mm.
And the plants naturally don't grow in these amounts of THC. There's no such a plant unless you genetically engineer, which is, guess what they did? The Madison, Wisconsin University already started. They are currently got funded to re-engineer brand new plants with 0.0 THCA.
Mm.
So they're making ones already because they know the market is coming up.
Right. What's the well, the new federal standards include total THC, correct? Rather than simply Delta 9 THC. Explain the difference between the two and why those people that are in position of authority to form the regulations influenced by the lobby, they don't know do they know what the differentiation is between the two?
They do know some. When it comes to THC side, they do know some. So Delta is a not naturally occurring also cannabinoid. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm really, really against what's going on in the market for multiple different reasons. It's a lot of synthetic products on the market. It's a lot of dirty products that are not clean and are full of mold and metals and BTG and bacteria, such as going to cause the E. coli infections and all kinds of other gut issues. Might even cause actual failure, like liver failure. So these products are currently being sold on the market. That's a real situation we are in right now. But the THC and the Delta 9 or even Delta 8, all these other cannabinoids, they are not natural cannabinoids. Those are synthetics. There's a lot of synthetics going on. So I am okay to clean up the market. But if you guys cleaning up the market from synthetics, why nobody's focusing then on the full spectrum acidic cannabinoids? Because if that's the case, if we're gonna push full spectrum acidic cannabinoids, that means we can allow our citizens to grow these at home or even put in the grocery stores, and people can consume those as just like air, water, and food, like it's essential stuff, right? In grocery stores next to the produce. And if that's gonna happen, they know they're gonna start losing lots of money on pharmaceutical drugs because people gonna start feeling better from mental illness, gut issues, inflammation, diabetes, doesn't matter what it is, this controls basically everything in the body.
So naturally occurring, right? The THC in the hemp plant itself. They're trying to regulate it down, limiting it to 0.4 milligrams of combined total THC per unit, right? That's the term that you've used, per unit.
Yes.
But to do that, regulate and restrict something that naturally occurs, explain that. You don't get to a full spectrum, but explain how and what impact that has on the farmers that are going to be growing this stuff.
First of all, farmers are liquidating everything right now, which is very what's where we at the moment. I am been in touch with a lot of farmers across the country. It's a really bad situation. People give up their businesses, people done growing. Only the high THC focused farmers like cannabis, what you call medicinal or for smokables, the
Right.
stuff that is not supposed to be in our bodies in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So those are booming right now. Okay, this is we're shifting everything towards them. One thing you need to understand, naturally, if you take the hemp plant, the one that we had for thousands of years, there is no THC, it's THCA, CBDA, CBVA, CBGA. Those, the A gives you as an acid form. So even the THC, it's not such a natural cannabinoid. It is closest to be to natural because it's not delta and is not delta 9 or delta 8, but is not so natural as a THCA. The THCA is original God's given version. The THC is already adjusted version. It's already the changed version because of the processes and growing and chemicals and all that stuff. So it's not original molecule, the THC, but our actually government is not, they can't even comprehend that far. If these people did not even know as humans have endocannabinoid system, and for them to actually putting the law in place that is basically not going to allow me to use my product anymore, that is critically essential to me in order to function on this earth, they don't even understand what endocannabinoid system is. How do you expect these people to know acidic cannabinoid, natural God's given version, which is THC and delta 9 and delta 8? It's a huge confusion. It's a huge problem. And
Has natural? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Has natural hemp been banned?
indirectly, yes.
Indirectly. Okay.
Yeah,
So
they're not telling to your face. They're saying you can have a baby, but no, you can get pregnant, but you cannot have a baby.
right, genetically modified baby
It's like the same thing. It's
that they
like
make
it's
in
what.
their petri dish, right? Only.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they literally pushing everything towards very and they say we're trying. The reason we're making this law because we're trying to clean up the market because nobody knows what you guys doing. The people getting high, all that stuff. We're trying to regulate. No, all what they're doing right now to control substances that are not officially controlled, but they're going to be in a minute. They're giving to two industries. One goes to pharmaceutical, and the other particle of this plant goes to the liquor industry. That's it. That's
Mm-mm.
all what it is. An original version of the plant, full spectrum cannabinoids, the ones that our bodies makes and matches our own endocannabinoid system, is not even been talked. And the way the law is currently passing, you can't even grow naturally these plants
Mm-hmm.
the way they should be done in order to empower endocannabinoid system with the full spectrum THCA, THCA basically, and CBDA cannabinoids.
These are technical but very critical differentiators. So you went to DC, and I've got a policy on that, but I've had a lot of friends, and I've been very supportive of their efforts to go to their congressional authorities because you can't just opt out; you have to work with them. But you went to DC, and you had to have an elevator pitch that very succinctly said that you need to consider this. What did you tell these lawmakers? Like, what was your pitch to get their attention, and how did they respond?
I think my biggest mistake when I got in the offices was that I personally, it was my first time ever, and I did not feel like I am coming here to be heard and hopeful that something is gonna change. I'm American citizen. I worked through blood and tears to get my citizenship here. I love this country and I want this country to be happy, healthy, and safe. So that means I'm representing public health and my brothers and sisters on this earth. And what I came with the title that I told them, first of all, like, you guys working for us. We don't work for you. So so that was a big mistake because I was pretty, I can't say aggressive, but I was very, very, very blunt and very straightforward. And I kind of raised that verbally that you guys really have to support, and otherwise you are just submitting the crime against humanity. So the biggest pitch, what I told them, that I said the laws you currently passed and you're going to enforce as of November. Now they just extended up to December. So they said, I said, the laws you passed is literally taking oxygen, air, water, and food away from people. I said, do we understand that? And some of the, some of the offices were listening, some of them rolling their eyes, some of them ignored me. But I literally said, do you understand, if I take your endocannabinoid system out of your body, if I'm going to completely shut your endocannabinoid system, or not to empower with these cannabinoids that are so essential to us, I said, you're going to be drop dead. And I said, the way our law passed right now, you're basically telling us indirectly that we should be drop dead. I said, why this is okay? I said, why this law does not support anything towards the public health? Why are we not considering mental illness? Why are we not considering like inflammation is out of the roof everywhere? Like, why are we not considering cancer? Why are we not looking how we can actually heal our nation?
Mm-hmm.
Why this law is really supporting only two industries only, and nobody talks again how are we going to heal our nation? So I told them, I said, it's a crime against humanity. If they're going to pass the law, I'm going to go fight, and it's going to become my life's mission to prove and show them they literally stole oxygen away. And I asked them, I was literally just like you and I right now sitting. I said, do you think would be legal right now for you guys go and ban the oxygen so I no longer have a right to breathe? And I was like, no. It's like, and some of them like listening and they didn't want to say. And it's like, I said, no, answer the question. Is this legal or not? And he's like, okay, no, it would be a really bad idea. I said, how about if you just let it ban it?
It's the equivalent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I said, this is exact same thing, except because nobody knows about it because they're so good in hiding this for last 150 years for quite clear reasons why they did that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I said, now because you guys don't know, I said, that does not keep you accountable for. I'm letting you know that the law right now that is there in place does not support anything on endocannabinoid system. Mm-hmm. It's not a good law, and you're stealing an opportunity to heal our nation. And if that's going to be the case, if you're going to pass this law, I said, you're going to see I said, you better remember my face. You're going to see my face. And I said, I'm not going to stop this because this is beyond wrong. It's same as you told me, don't breathe, don't drink your water, and don't sleep, and don't eat. This is exactly, don't empower your endocannabinoid system.
Inesa, the medical industrial complex and big pharma benefits from us not being healthy or using natural alternatives to keep us healthy, right? So you know the term cui bono? Cui bono.
No.
Cui bono means who benefits, right? So who stands to benefit if natural, full spectrum hemp becomes much harder to produce? Who benefits from that?
Pharmaceuticals for sure, because then at that point, people are not going to get sick. Like mental illness do you know how many people I know is no longer on medications for mental illness because of their own endocannabinoid system by empowering through cannabinoids? Like it's a real thing. Like, do you know how many people heal chronic illnesses? Do you know how many people feel better and sleep and recover just by putting in the body what the body has been made from? So they're getting off the drugs. What happens? Those are no longer customers for pharmaceuticals, right? That means pharmaceuticals going to start losing the revenue.
Yes.
That's going to be a problem.
You know, here in Ohio, I'm in Ohio. Are you familiar with Ohio? Have you been to Ohio? Mm-hmm. Ohio has a lot of it's farm country. And the big manufacturers and bioengineering GMO companies like Monsanto and all those big companies, they actually have numbers. They have patents on their genetically modified soy, for instance, and they own it. It's intellectual property. If a seed blows into a different area, they can actually claim the rights to that. Something that naturally occurred that you typically would expect that you're growing on a farm, you know, fruit, corn, and so on and so forth. They've genetically modified it so that they can claim intellectual property rights. Same thing is occurring here, is it not?
100%. You got it right. You got it right on point,
Thank
except
you.
they didn't force it yet. Hmm.
They did enforce it. And that's what's behind this lobby, because you cannot patent something that grows out of the ground, naturally occurs, that God created, correct? You can't patent that.
And they did already. So they patented. So we both know it's not natural version. And now we know why it's not natural version. And I understood their agenda from a long time ago. I've been saying this for 5 years right now in interviews. I said one day they're
Mm,
gonna come up with idea why insurance should cover CBD. Who
mm,
is gonna benefit when CBD is gonna be actually, they're gonna say, you want your natural plant?
mm,
Okay, great. We give you CBD.
mm, mm.
And when they give us CBD, insurance covers, pharmaceuticals makes money again. But that's not the plant we're looking for, Mr.
Yes.
Pharma. We're
Mm,
looking for original, the one that you converted original plant into
yes.
the CBD. We don't want your control CBD. Keep this. No, give us original plant. Allow people grow it at home in their balconies. Put it in grocery stores as a superfood. And because our bodies, look, this is the magic. Our bodies makes these cannabinoids. The mother, when she actually has a baby and when the baby is finally born, right? So the been taught that mother's breast milk is actually very important for colostrum and immune building, right? This is also truth. But nobody tells you that the mother's breast milk is full of these cannabinoids.
Mm,
Cannabinoids, the same cannabinoids she's giving to the baby through the breast.
mm.
And she's feeding the baby's endocannabinoid system, because if the endocannabinoid system develops strongly and has these receptors around the body to actually really triggering to develop other systems, what's going to happen next? The baby's going to be very healthy.
Mm.
The IQ. Did you know that IQ, you can increase IQ if you have a strong endocannabinoid system from the young age from the baby? It's
Really?
like literally there's nothing that does not go under that system. Your IQ, you can increase someone's IQ, especially if you make sure the baby's endocannabinoid system is strong from young age. You can literally make your baby super smart.
Wow. And this is little known. As a matter of fact, the populace, I call it mass formation psychosis. Now people, I'm going to make a generalized statement, but most people hear CBD, they think getting high, marijuana. I'm going to have that impact. There are medicinal benefits, but ultimately, I'm going to get high from doing my CBD gummies or whatever. Do you agree with that? There's that attached, but they don't know that your body produces in your endocannabinoid system. They just don't know that, Nessa. Isn't that
So
true?
because they've been introduced to the wrong plants and the
Yes.
pharmaceuticals agenda. So that's why people are so lost, and
Yes.
Christians
Hmm.
especially, they're so terrified to even talk about this because they immediately put you. I can tell you this. This is scientific fact. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter which country you are. Whatever the hemp plant makes, original hemp plant, the God's given plant, not the pharmaceutical CBD, not the THC, the genetically engineered, none of that stuff. I'm talking the hemp plant, what these cannabinoids are made in the plant. You like it or you don't. It's a proven fact that your body makes it almost exact same identical molecule in your body. And that molecule is critical for you to do thousand things on this planet Earth.
Mm,
If you got sick, it's gonna help you fight the disease. If you're not sick, it's gonna help you prevent, scientifically proven, it could possibly was able to protect you from COVID.
mm-hmm,
This, so we make our own cannabinoids
mm-hmm,
from the moment we are born, before we even born. That's why mother's breast milk is full of exact same cannabinoids as in the hemp plant. She gives it to the baby, make sure the baby has full development. The problem is because we have oxidative stress, we have toxins, we have stress, we have all kinds of other nonsense, nanotechnologies everywhere. They start losing a production of own cannabinoids.
mm,
Just like a car, when you run out of gas, there's no more gas in it. You gotta fill in. You gotta fill in the gas so you can
mm.
continue driving, right?
Yes.
Same with the human body.
Yes.
You gotta fill in. Do you know how many people today in the hospitals dying what you call old age? And they said this is old age. I can almost guarantee you 99% of them, or at least 95, dying because endocannabinoid system has nothing there to produce anymore.
Mm.
And it's been deficient for the last 20 years because I have a real life examples. Real
Oh,
life examples. There was a woman laying in the hospital of old age. She was 86 years old or something. Her daughter, not the daughter, there's somebody from the family, a lady was flying to see and say goodbye to her. She took Nessa's oil back home in Lithuania, right? And she says, we have nothing to lose. She's dying anyways. Let's give her some oil. She's going to be, her nervous system is going to be calm. It's not going to make her high anyways. This is going to be good for her. This woman, within 3 days, was up and running.
are you
She left
kidding
the
me?
hospital. Week later, she was washing the windows. Days later, she was washing windows in her house.
Wow.
She literally, year later, she was praising the bottle and asking for more.
Wow.
So this woman wasn't dying because of old age, because her endocannabinoid system was so deficient.
Mm.
And that's what I'm saying. This law is so bad for us because when we're deficient of our own cannabinoids because of the lifestyle, because of the stress, that means the law tells us we can no longer take extra what our bodies makes it. It's just like
Wow.
it's
Wow.
wrong.
Okay, so Inesa, my full disclosure right now, and you can attest to this. Johanna had introduced me to. She knows how much of a, I'm a great investigative journalist. I'm a strong advocate. I'm a truth seeker and teller, right? And then she introduced me to what you're dealing with in this industry. She said, you need to talk to Nessa. So I said, before I do that, I want to become better informed. And it did a lot of research. Now I'm extremely passionate, but I'm not even an affiliate yet. There was an affiliate. There was a product that had nitric oxide. I found out the benefits and your natural production of nitric oxide, and I did the deep research, the scientific research that showed that it reverses hardening of the artery. Once I did my research, then I became an affiliate and have been for years. I'm going to do the same thing with you. I want to invite you to come back on again because I want to dig deeper into certain areas. But I want you to describe here as we close this part of the conversation down. And I'll bring you in for a second visit here, and we'll really hone in on some things I want to know about and educate our audience. But talk about your extraction process and how it's different. Number one, first part. And the second part is if the law, the new federal standards and definitions currently stand, do they shut you down by staying to the natural extraction process?
They will never gonna shut me down because I'm gonna fight until it's my last.
Amen to that. Good. I stand with you in that effort.
If they're gonna really pass the law already passed, if they're gonna actually really enforce it, I am planning to stand in front of the Congress and ask them how this is okay that they took basically oxygen away from us. Like
Yeah.
how this is legal. Like this is literally a crime against humanity. And when I called last week in the offices, because they had a couple hours left until they're making decision if they should extend or not, I literally left every single office a message. I said, I know you guys are currently making decision, and I want to let you know that decision is better be made to support endocannabinoid system and essentials, because if not, you are literally submitting a crime against humanity, and there's going to be people who's going to fight for that because it's same as you stealing oxygen from us. So our products are made very differently because of what's on the market. And I told you, like, I did not like anything what I saw on the market. I saw just a great businessman. Some people, only God knows the background stories they had. Everybody was just there for make the money, like cannabis, THC, CBD gummies. Nobody was testing anything. I'm like, I was actually terrified what I saw on the market. I was terrified when I saw on the farmers. What I was terrified when I saw in laboratories, how laboratories were giving a fake reports. So quality wise, we actually first we prep the soil because the hemp is a natural soil cleaner. So if you want to grow hemp for medicinal purposes, you have to have a soil clean in the first place because hemp is very sensitive. It grabs everything from the soil like a sponge. And then of course you eat that hemp later on, then you basically eat the metals, eat the particles, eat mold, eat whatever it's in it.
Right.
So to grow hemp naturally, like clean, it's definitely a hard part, but we did it. We are very proud and we did it. And then also what we do only hand harvest. And after hand harvest, we actually do hand dry. That means there's no machineries going through and heating up the plant with the machines, just
It
like
has destructive properties when you do that, right?
100%. It
Yes,
destroys
right.
the chemicals,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah,
natural compounding chemicals in the plant. Exactly.
right.
And you don't want to do that because you want to keep everything preserved from the plant all the way to the finished bottle, so matches your own endocannabinoid system, so you synergetically connect together with the plant and create, it's called entourage effect through these CB1, CB2 receptors, and start lighting up the whole systems to start working together. So then at that person's like, oh my gosh, I feel much better. I have mental clarity, my gut issues is better, my cancer is like, I feel better on that. Like people start feeling better. It doesn't matter if you have a disease or if you don't, you feel better, period. So with that being said, we also do extraction process, which is we're currently doing extraction process at this very moment. And it literally comes one drop at a time with, it's called cold press. That's the easiest way to describe.
Sure.
But it's a major pressure being put in on the plant slowly, super, super slowly. At that point, it's so slow where sometimes gets stuck, which is sets us back for another 6 hours, restart the machinery, which is it's a hard process, but it literally comes one drop at a time within cool temperatures, so there's no breakdown on molecular structure. Hemp plant stays exactly the same as basically through the whole extraction process to all the way to the finished bottle. So we do have non-oxidative product, which is there's no products on the market that non-oxidated because every product on the market is oxidated. Nesa's is not oxidated because the way we extract. And also, we are only one company in the world, according to compliance in the health department, as I talked to both. We actually have, it's called a lot number on the bottom. So I don't tell people like, you should just trust me because, I have a pretty face. No, I say you should never trust me. You would want to trust me, but you always want to double check on me, right? So I tell people all the time, you know what? I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to show you what's in it. So each bottle, it's been tested 14 times for quality control from every possible metal, for every possible mold, bacteria growth. I mean, all kinds of other pathogens like chemicals and you name it, plus medicinal portfolio, it's in there too. So every consumer, when they purchase the product, they have a right to go on the website, type in their lot number, that's directly here on the bottle, and they can check in exactly what's in their bottle in terms of the lab reports. And our labs are real. Most companies don't provide real lab reports, and that's also been known in the industry. It's not something, it's very common that lab reports lie, and ours been done by third parties that are FDA registered, ISO, and GMP, and you name it. So these also laboratories kept accountable for their outcome. So it's not like they can write up whatever they want.
Just like I learned about nitric oxide, and my mother, I probably could have extended her life a couple of years. She died of cardiovascular disease, and I wasn't educated enough on nitric oxide. But I felt a sense of urgency myself to consume those products that I was advocating. Same thing I feel with your product right now. Like I want to become a consumer benefiting from it with a level of urgency because I want to be, as we get older, incrementally we end up with deficiencies because of the outside influences on the harmful pollutants in the air. The food that we consume is modified and has some detrimental impact on our health. So I feel a sense of urgency to offset some of those deficiencies. I'm going to start using the product. I have a batch coming to me right now. I'm going to bring you back on for another visit, but I want a call to action of our listening audience. I know everybody benefited from this conversation. I learn right in front of my audience. That's why they love my interviews. So I'm gonna ask you one thing right now. There's a deadline of November 12th, 2026. This goes into effect. What can we do? What if Congress does nothing? Give us a call to action as to how we can stop them from doing the equivalent of banning consumption of oxygen.
Yes, exactly. So what I'm planning to do is I am planning to, because the whole thing got extended as of a week ago until December 11, which was not a lot.
Oh,
We
okay.
gave us
Right.
additional month to fight. And that's why I was calling the offices and I said, if you, God forbid, you don't extend this, it's going to be bad news. They didn't give us a lot of time, but month, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
So what I was planning to do is I was planning to actually fly in Washington, D.C. again and just go through probably, I don't know, pick 20, 30 offices and just go through every single one of them and see the reactions. And probably would be the best if I'm sure you have your email list. If I'll need the voices to be heard where American citizens saying, no, we want this, we need this, I might need to use that as I'm gonna fly back in Washington D.C. and just go in these
Get a
offices.
petition going? Can we get a petition going and saying on behalf of all these people that have learned about this and are responding to it, we demand that you push the pause button here and stop.
I think that's what we need to do, to be honest with you, and say this is. I just don't know what the number would be that would make an impact.
Okay.
But I would say these people are aware what endocannabinoid system is, which is, it's not a secret. It's like world, global, admitted fact everywhere. Like there's no question. It's like everybody knows we have a heart and everybody knows we have endocannabinoid system, except they don't want you to really push that topic. So, so I would say, yeah, that would be really helpful. I just don't know how many signatures we would need.
Okay. Now call to action. Tell everybody to go to, is it nessashemp.com, right?
Correct.
Learn more. I'm actually going to put together through my learning experience. I've got a way that I can share the scientific paperwork and the information as I learn through it and share it with my listening audience. This is an educational process. A lot of people are waking up to a lot of things as I have through this experience. Now I'm going to ask you this. So when I first came to you, I said I don't normally do pre-interview interviews because I wanted to learn more and I wanted to set out on a path. How did I do?
No, I think you did great. I was just also, normally people would tell me what my talking points are, what we're going to talk about. And I really loved that you were just curious. And you're right, just because of your curiosity, I'm simply trying to educate you that audience learns the same way. So I think it's very, very natural. And I hope I know it's a very complex subject. In my head, as I speak, I see like 50 things going on and I'm trying to relay only one or two.
Right.
There is no such thing as very clear, very answer to each question, but I try to kind of dumb it down as much as possible because this topic is very complex.
Sure.
And one of the reasons also is still complex because think about this, it was on Schedule 1.
You know what? Can I interject for a second?
Yeah.
You know, in the financial sector, they come up with their own language, which basically is a mask for legalized theft of our money. They intentionally confuse. If you can't convince them, you confuse them. You confuse them, right? Isn't that intentional to make it that complex?
That's exactly why it happened. That's why people are so terrified and say, why would you take CBD? Why would you take THC? And I agree that people have a bad experiences, but they have no idea. They're talking about completely wrong side of the plant. There's another plant side that is so essential to us and does nothing but opposite for CBD or the THC does.
Yeah, just because somebody comes up with a great idea to mix, you know, a naturally produced breast milk with colostrum, and they say, wow, let's make it addictive by adding some cocaine to it, doesn't mean that the breast milk and the colostrum is not the central core benefit for the life sustaining for the baby itself, right? You have to separate the two. You can't be modifying nature's course. Nessa, thank you so much for this visit. I really, really appreciate it, and I'm going to bring you back for a second visit again. I'm going to prepare. There's some questions that I want to dig into a little bit more detailed. I want to try the product, do some more research, and continue this educational process. And I want to ask everybody right now to join us in this effort doing the equivalence, not dumbing it down. It's just making it simple because it's true. Congress cannot all of a sudden ban the consumption of oxygen. You just can't do that. They don't have intellectual property rights on things that God created, period, right? And that's what we're going to push back on politically.
That's what you're going to push back, and we're going to be able to do it only through education.
Yes.
And when people are going to understand better, they're going to be able to stand for. But now, because they're so confused and they heard nothing but the bad experiences, they can't stand for something they don't know.
Yes.
That they're missing the biggest thing there is. Like, you understand, there could be almost free medicine for people to heal at home, like doing almost nothing. It's incredible to me. One thing I want to say, when you're going to start using Inesas, I tell people all the time, there's no such thing as product don't work or the cannabinoids. Is the people that have some of them are so deficient on endocannabinoid system. So some people really need it much more than others. So keep increasing the dose until you feel the difference, okay? So don't just follow exactly what's written in the bottle saying half dropper full here and here, like twice a day after you brush your teeth. No, make sure you really do it in like higher doses if it's needed. So that means if you feel like, I'm not sure if I'm feeling the benefit, right? If you're kind of questioning, that means it's time to increase the dose. Also, I apply it on my skin to get rid of like my wrinkles and stuff. So it really helps with that. So you try to use it for 7 days, you're gonna see a huge difference. I also apply it sometimes on the back of my neck. It helps me to fall asleep super, super deep. And if you put the oil, a drop in your belly button is gonna help to regulate a lot in your guts too. So you can use it so many other ways.
Wow, excellent. Very, very informative. Thank you, Inesa. Everyone, let's share this information. This first recording on Rumble Premium, of course, we're going to share that as well. On tonight's live show, we're going to be not only broadcasting it, but I'm going to put together some stuff that you can do your research and homework, and let's join together with Inesa in her efforts to convince the power brokers that be. You know, when you went there and you were knocking on doors, what's the difference between you knocking on doors saying, you need to do this right, versus the lobbies? They come with big bags of cash. And that's not what makes the world go round. That's not how our company was founded. They are to serve we the people, and we just need to let them know who we are. Thank you very much, Inesa. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and on the live broadcast, we will break away here, and we'll be right back right after this.
So.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Here we go. Hi.
Hi. So actually funny you said that, because when I walked in the offices, that's exactly what I told them. I said, I'm not here for lots of money. I'm here to remind you who you work for. I said, we are the people here. I said, I'm presenting my brothers and sisters. I'm American citizen. I have a right to do it. This is my country.
Yeah.
I've got blood and tears and everything to make it happen here. I did not walk through Mexico wall. And I said, I am here for medical freedom, and I'm here to tell you some very important things today.
They were repulsed by that, weren't they?
I was in the office with one of the attorneys who was also from the Illinois, and they looked at him and he said, is this serious? Is she serious? They literally looked at him and they said, is she serious? And he said, no, she's just joking today. And I said, no, I'm not.
Wow. Wow.
They're a little bit nervous because that attorney did not know me. And he was literally my partner, a selected partner, go through the offices together. So I literally had to go with him together. And in the first 2 offices, they asked him, first specifically, they said, is she serious? And he's like, no, she's just joking. Actually, we're about to start the conversation. Wow. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm not even close to be joking. I'm dead serious.
Hold on just 1 second. Okay.